My name is Anthony. This is my daughter, Alissa.
Hey.
We're from Bonded by Family Ties. What's up? What's up? So, we're going to be talking to you today about early childhood memories. So, I've talked to Junior before. Now I'm talking to Alissa. So, we're just trying to get some more insight and intellect. Ooh, intellect.
Big words.
Intellect. On how kids are growing up. You know, trying to get there first because she has a daughter now, right?
I do.
How old is your daughter?
She's 11.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure as you were now raising her, you've seen some things in her that happiness, sadness, anger,
Yeah.
right? So all these things come up as a child. So some things we keep, some things we let go
Yeah.
to develop ourselves, right? So you are on Folsom,
Okay.
okay, and your life is changing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So when your life started changing, what was some of the emotions that you had? Because you were like what, 7?
When things started changing,
Yeah, you were what, 8?
about 7 or 8,
Yeah. So how were your feelings then?
confused. I think I wasn't really sad. I was mad.
So if you could tell your daughter about that time, as far as the strength that you have now, what would you say?
Ooh. That was tough. What would I tell my daughter now based off the feelings that I had back then and what I've brought from it?
Yeah.
It's okay to be mad. Being mad isn't being disrespectful.
Okay.
That's what I would tell her. It's okay to
Okay.
be upset and
Yeah.
to have those type of feelings.
And now you got a little brother running around chasing you. Right? How'd that feel?
That was exciting.
Yeah.
I loved it. I love my brothers. Those are my best friends. So I don't think I wanted to be an only child. I couldn't imagine being the only child. You know, Junior was like, what? Just a year and some change after me. But it was a big gap between Junior and Thomas.
Right.
Well, not a huge gap, about 3 years. So I was just used to me and Junior.
Right.
And then here come this other baby. Like, what the heck?
Okay.
What are you supposed to do with him? Me and Junior got a routine.
Okay.
And we got to throw him in.
Okay.
But that's my brother too, and I love him.
That's what's up.
I love him.
That's
I
good.
couldn't imagine my life without him. And then about 16 years later, we get we though.
Yeah. Now you have a little 11-year-old brother, right? So remember we talked earlier about you being that age of separation, the feelings that you had, right?
Yeah.
Your daughter, separation. You know what I mean? The feelings that she may have.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? All these little blocks that are in there that you had when you was a kid, now your little brother has it, and your daughter has it,
Yep.
right? So that being said, do you think any differently now?
I do. I look at the situations different only because I'm in that situation. So I can understand from an adult perspective, and I can also understand from the child's perspective.
Yeah.
That's why I try to have open dialogue with my daughter and let her know. Like, I ask her questions like, how does she feel about things? Because a lot is changing. Things have changed a lot for her too. So I like to talk to her, let her know that it's okay to talk to me about how you're feeling, and it don't have to be everybody else's business about how you feel.
Okay.
Because I felt like when I tried to vent sometimes, I was venting to the whole family, and I didn't want to vent to the whole family.
Okay. Single mom, right? Always around cousins and uncles and aunties. My uncles were like my fathers. You know what I mean? Because I was always around them. So having that father figure in my life, that was like non-existent. So all the emotions that I had as a kid being that age was like abandonment, shame, sadness, anger. And these are all because, when you're in the neighborhood running around with other kids, the kids can be cruel. You know what I mean? Oh, you don't have no dad. You know what I mean? Fighting and all that stuff like that. So we all have different ways of dealing with things as we grow up. Sometimes we get isolated. We isolate ourselves, right? And that's a form of protection. You isolate yourself. You figure, if I'm by myself, I ain't got to deal with nobody. So the fact that you had two amazing little brothers growing up with you, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Because you got somebody to mess around with, to vent to, when you can't vent to your mom and your dad. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure you all said some things that we never heard. So I'm just speaking from my own personal experience. See, brought something out. And I think I was 6, 5 going on 6, when my little brother was born. And I felt like the same way. Like, who's this little dude? You know what I mean? Getting my attention.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like I said, when I was around my mom, I was like, you know what I mean? I wanted all that attention from her because, that's where I was.
Yeah.
So now I got this little dude laying on the couch, smiling and grinning. He's like, I got your spot now, homie. But, growing up with him, I had to, switch up. I couldn't be that, oh, I ain't got no dad. I'm going through all this stuff. My little brother helped me get through all that stuff. So I see having siblings can be a really good way of dealing with your emotions as a kid when the family is separated.
Yeah. I don't know. Well, I guess it's kind of on topic, but it just made me think about it. Like, a lot of my friends would be like, oh, like, you got the good household. You got a mom and a dad figure in the house. A lot of my friends didn't have a father figure in the house, or their dad wasn't around. And I always was like, I think it was just me and my anger. I was like, I'd rather not have a father figure at all if I cannot have my dad. As an adult, I realized that was a little wrong on my part, a little selfish, but that was my feelings at the time.
This is Bonding by Family Ties, and this is what we do. We get together and we have real conversations about real things. You know what I mean?
You want to know something crazy?
What's that?
Remember when I was like 9, 10? I don't know if you remember, but I shaved my eyebrows off.
Yeah, I remember.
My daughter did the same exact thing at the same exact age. But she only did one. I did both. And I couldn't be mad at her. Oh, she needs to be whoop her butt. She should have shaved her eyebrows playing with a razor. But I couldn't bring myself to discipline her because I did the same exact thing.
Trying to be fast too quick.
Yeah, I saw my mama doing her eyebrows. I'm like, let me do mine. And she see me do mine. So she was like, well, let me try it. So, you just gotta, instead of like, you can't, people always wanna, oh, you need to whoop them, whoop they butt. You did it. Like, they not doing nothing we didn't do. Like, my mama always said, like, ain't nothing new under the sun. Yeah. You haven't done nothing I haven't done. Like, you can't whoop your kids for everything.
That's right.
Sometimes it just takes a conversation.
That's right.
And, it could be fixed that simple.
Yeah. So I have more harder questions.
Okay.
And I want to talk about your feelings.
All right.
All right. As an adult, when you were a child and things were going on, who did you blame? Your mom or your dad?
I didn't blame either of them. I blamed
yourself?
My step-parents.
Hey, remember the first episode when I said it didn't matter? Yeah, that's me, step-parent.
I blamed the step-parents.
Why?
Because I felt like I didn't know. Well, I was a kid. I didn't know. Nobody told us why things were happening. So we just see these two people with our parents. And I'm like, why are y'all here? Like, if it wasn't for y'all, they would be together.
Right.
So my feeling was, why don't y'all get together and then they be together?
Ooh, I didn't
know that. Why don't stepdad and stepmom get together and then I can have my mom and dad back?
Right. So how long did you feel that way that your parents, in your mind, the healthy thing was for them to be together?
I let that dream go when I was like, honestly, 15 or 16.
Okay. So at that point, at 15, 16, were you exhausted mentally, physically, and spiritually because of that that dream that was
Oh, yeah.
inside you that your biological parents were together.
I was over it. I didn't care anymore
Why?
because I think everybody was. I don't know. I feel like everybody was still upset, and I was like, it's not gonna happen. If it hasn't happened by now, it's just not gonna happen. Just let it go, get over it, move on.
Okay. So at 15. So before 15, what shenanigans did you try to do to make them reconnect?
I didn't really do anything to make them reconnect, but I would just make it uncomfortable for my stepdad.
Okay.
I would do my best to get under his skin. Like, there were times where I put his clothes in grocery bags and left him on the porch when he got home from work. Like, here's your stuff, you can go.
Really?
Yeah, I was pretty mean. But as I got older, I started to respect him more. I grew to I loved him. You know, he was my stepdad. He stepped in, so I loved him, and I tried to show that respect. But I still wanted my mom and dad to be together because I was my happiest that I can remember. Those were like the happiest times. We did have happy times after, but
Okay,
it
so
just felt like
what's one major memory marker that you would bring up to keep your ideas, thoughts, and feelings to align with your parents coming together? Because there had to been points where you're just looking at them and they're arguing or doing what parents do, and children just don't seem to understand. And you would have to go back to a place to be able to say, okay, this is the way I want it. This is the way it's going to be. I don't see this, but this is what I remember. This is what I'm hanging on to.
I would go back to Esther's Way when I was like 4. And I'll never forget. I think we have it on video too, and that's probably why I remember it so vividly. We were all putting up the Christmas tree.
Okay.
And they were just smiling the whole time. Me and Junior just smiling. I think my mom was pregnant with Thomas. And like that was like one of my happiest memories.
Okay.
After that, I don't remember us putting up a Christmas tree together.
Okay. So the thing that I want the viewers to understand is that every child has something that they're hanging on to. And if you don't ask them or you don't talk about it when they get older, you have to we putting on sensors today. You have to like dig back and find out what the root of the problem is, because if you don't find out what the root, you can't pull it out. But the cool thing is God is the vine and we are the branches. So in all reality, God replaced those roots, but us as human beings need to go back, figure out where the root was and be able to pull it, because that's when we can heal. Mm-hmm. Do you understand why I did that? I have no sociology degree, just lots of kids. And I was a foster parent. So, what are some memories that you could remember your brothers doing to sabotage relationships?
Junior was pretty chill. I remember Thomas told my stepdad that my dad would beat him up.
I think every kid does that.
Yeah.
My daddy can beat your daddy up. Well, my mama could beat your mama up. Yeah, I get it.
Thomas did stuff like that. Like I said, I was good at packing the bags, being defiant. Like I'm not, my dad, I don't have to listen to you. That was me. I didn't always say it, but I showed it.
Right.
I think I actually like brought myself to say it one time.
Now you have your own baby. Mm-hmm. And the person that used your forever is not the biological, correct?
No.
Mm-mm. So how do you see the same characteristics playing out in your daughter?
I'm sure she has her thoughts like, why can't you and my dad be together? She's asked me that a time or two, and I've explained to her, some people just grow apart.
See, good parenting. Her daughter asked her.
Yeah. Yeah, she asked me, like, why can't you? I never asked my mom.
Right. I'm just saying from generation to generations. Now we're going to look at generations to generations. Because, like, I'm 50 as old as your dad. Our generation just started speaking up. But the generation, I have no idea what that says. But the generation before us, they didn't say anything. And then now her generation, they took it out on the other parent, and now we have another generation, and her generation actually asked the question. So it's kind of cool looking at generations.
Yeah.